this is Plantation Police Department. Where is Nick's body?
He took kids, and I don't know where he took kids.
Nobody deserves what happened to my brother.
On the street last time. Come on, let's go have a beer. Keep looking at me like that, and I will kill you.
Eric had a knife in his hands, and he was saying he was gonna kill me and kill him too.
What you'll ultimately see on the video is that he has Mr. Wilcox's deceased body in the back of the pickup truck.
What do you got in the bag? Plastic, tarps, and stuff like that.
It's horrifying.
So you had your phone, but why not call the police at that point?
I was afraid of everything.
You see them just very much being regular people inside of a grocery store.
Why would you be acting like that? If that's somebody holding you against your will?
You guys hug, you give a kiss, you hold hands, and that just kind of confuses me.
I was not hugging Eric, I was hugging my life. I was going to do whatever it takes to survive.
Your wife is in a bar. You said she's unresponsive.
This is what he's going to tell you. How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir.
The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything?
We, the jury, and to find the defendant.
Are you aware the statement's being recorded?
Yes.
Are you making the statement voluntarily?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Please state your full name.
Isabella Tagliarini.
Isabella Tagliarini came to police as a victim, but before it was over, she would end up being accused of murder.
So, what happened in this case is that Isabella Tagliarini killed her boyfriend, Nicholas Wilcox, and blamed it on her ex-boyfriend, Eric Robinson.
So for the first time, Isabella, an immigrant from Brazil, has decided to tell her story of what she says happened.
I've been dreaming about this day and about all these years and waiting. I was very nervous, but at the same time, right now, I feel so relieved that so many people that they don't know until today what really happened.
It was, by all accounts, a night of violence and rage.
I still suffer from everything that happened to me since that night, so it's very fresh in my mind. I met Eric in 2012. I went dancing in a club, and until this moment, he was always a nice person, a person that I could count on and trust, very fun. And I moved in to his house in June of 2016, and everything was going like perfect. For me, he was like a Prince Charming, that came, and he was everything that I was dreaming for.
But Isabella would tell police her relationship with Eric soon turned into a nightmare.
He was very abusive, very aggressive, and...
When you say abusive, did he hit you?
Yeah, he hit me a lot of times.
Okay.
And he was always threatening to kill me. And we had a lot of incidents where the police was called.
Isabella says she called the police on him again and again.
But he always made bail. So it was just for a couple days, and then he was back home. The fear was getting worse. I couldn't find a way to leave him. And I was always believing his story that he was gonna change.
And then a third person moved into the apartment. Nick Wilcox, a divorced father of 3 from Connecticut, who knew Eric Robinson from a local construction job.
So basically, he was a contractor. He was a very vibrant person, full of energy, wild, always fun-loving and generous, and always wanting to help others.
The first week was everything good. We ended up going out to the movies together. the three of us going out for drinks, until Eric started again hurting me, hitting me again. And this happened for 4 times. And the 4 times, Nick intervened.
Deal with screaming her head. That's what she yelled down the street last time. No, I'm going to my room. Let's go have a Stop. See?
Yeah.
She wants stop.
You know why?
I do.
Lose my. And I took my cell phone in that moment, and I recorded. Eric had a knife in his hands, and he was saying he was gonna kill me and kill him too.
I'm gonna kill you both if you don't shut her mouth. Put her mouth over her. Kill you. Stop. If you threaten me again, please. I will. Don't touch me. I will snap your neck. Don't ever threaten my family. You stop. You don't know nothing about family. Come on. Keep looking at me like that, and I will kill you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Let go. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching. I'm stopping you from screaming. I'm stopping you from screaming. You can breathe. You can breathe. Shut the up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Come on. Eric, you come out with us then.
And Nick went in the middle of us, and he called Eric to go outside and solve this man-to-man.
It didn't surprise me that he did that. It was something our mother really drilled into us, is a man does not hit a woman, ever.
I'm on bail right now. I know you are. So let's go outside and let's talk. And if I go back, cops come, I will kill you and them and make them shoot you. So stop.
And me and Nick, we called the police here, Plantation Police, to come to the house. And we gave them the video.
Okay.
And we made a police report showing that he said he was gonna kill me and kill Nick.
Mr. Robinson went off to jail, and apparently during those few days, Miss Tagliarini and Mr. Wilcox began some sort of romantic relationship.
Yes, I fell in love.
Okay.
Completely. Yes. That's what happened.
Okay, what happened?
Especially because he saved me. So I was in love, and he told me he was in love too. So that's when we started being together, and everything went very quickly.
Hurricane Irma flooded, whipped, and tore up both coasts of Florida this weekend. Millions are in the dark.
It was when the devastating Hurricane Irma hit Florida that Nick and Isabella, stuck inside, made plans for a future together, putting it in writing.
It was during the hurricane. That was a love letter. It's his handwriting. He wrote that he was going to get married to me, have kids, protect me, love.
It goes on to say that Miss Tagliarini and Mr. Wilcox will love each other forever and be kind to each other and never cheat on each other. And both of them signed their names, and it has sort of a blood smear at the bottom of it. It's a love contract between the two of them, if you will.
He called my parents saying he was asking permission to marry me. I was gaining back my life. I was feeling like I was alive again. I could breathe. And Eric finally was in a place that he couldn't come after me. They told me a lot of charges that would make him stay at least minimum 5 years in jail.
And Eric Robinson, locked up in the Broward County Jail, had no idea what was going on with his girlfriend and his friend.
Did you ever visit the jail?
Never.
Did you tell him over the phone that you and Nick were together?
No.
Did Nick tell him that you guys were together?
No, he didn't. Yes, I was worried about, but again, I was always reassured by the police saying, no, there's no problem. He's behind bars, so I'm okay here. We are okay here. And we were not.
But Robinson was able to post bail and was released from the Broward County Jail on October 3rd.
Did you know that Eric was getting released from jail?
No, never. I was never informed. Not even me, not even Nick. We had no clue at all that he would be out.
A few days later, at 2:30 in the morning, Robinson showed up at the apartment.
I woke up with Eric with one hand in my mouth and one hand in my throat, and questioning me if I wanted to survive or if I want to die.
Plantation Police Department, Dispatcher Cook, how can I help you?
I just got a strange phone call from my ex-wife that's living in Plantation, and she told me just now, crying and sobbing, that the guy just got out of jail and killed the roommate, and there's blood in the house.
Okay, so someone's supposed to be dead in that house?
Yeah, her name is Isabella Tagliamini. She's at the house right now.
Okay,
she told me the
a guy got out of jail.
Eric Robinson.
And he killed
went to the house.
Roommate in this house?
Yeah, and the roommate's name is, she told me, is Nick Wilcox.
Okay, so Eric was in jail. Eric got out of jail, came home, killed his roommate, Nick.
Police came to believe that Robinson had seen the signed love letter between Isabella and Nick, which she kept near her bed.
I don't think it's a big leap to make that somebody like him seeing a note like that certainly acted as a trigger for him. According to her, she quite literally said she heard Mr. Wilcox getting beaten to death and literally gurgling on his own blood.
The sound is weird, but it's a sound like this, like trying hardly to breathe. Eric made me sit outside the bedroom, like right in front of the door.
He smashed his entire face in to the point where he lodged his teeth into the back of his throat. He didn't die right away. He was suffering in massive pain and could barely breathe for a long period of time.
Eric asked me why I chose him, why I decided to be with him. And Nick was still making the noise in the bedroom. And he told me, remember, I want to kill you. I came here to kill you both, and I'm going to kill you in the way I always said. It's not going to be an easy death. I'm going to cut you in pieces and throw you in the river.
Isabella said Robinson ordered her to take some Xanax, washed down with vodka.
Whatever he told me to do, I would do. I was in just survival mode. He said, dress sexy for me, and we're gonna lay in the other bedrooms. And then he had sex with me. I didn't have sex with him. He had with me.
And once they sat down with Isabella, detectives began to suspect something was strange about her timeline.
And just so you're aware of your rights, you have the right to remain silent, refuse to answer questions. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Isabella made no effort to contact police for some 15 hours after the murder, then using her ex-husband to do it.
But why not call the police at that point?
Because I was afraid if I should call the police and have you come, or should I run to the police, or if he was outside. Then you guys called me.
Hi, this is Plantation Police Department. Yeah. Okay. Did Eric kill somebody? Yeah. Okay. Where is Eric? He left. I don't know where he is. He left and he said he's going to come back in 1 hour. Okay, and where is Nick's body? I don't know. It's somewhere. He took it, and I don't know where he took it. Okay, so he picked the dead body up and took it out of the house? Yeah.
So, by the time police actually arrived on the scene, not only was the body of Nick Wilcox gone and the suspect Eric Robinson gone, but there had been an extensive effort in the intervening hours to clean the apartment.
And they smell an overwhelming smell of cleaning agents, Clorox, peroxide, things along that matter.
He told me to clean the body, the blood. That's the only reason
So
was.
you cleaned up the blood and
Yes.
stuff.
But I knew that that was not going to clean and that I was going to call the police. I was not going to keep with that. But I did what he told me.
Okay.
In addition to cleaning everything, they actually painted various parts of the wall in the bedroom where the murder occurred to cover up some of the blood.
How long are you cleaning up for?
I don't know, hours.
All the while, detectives could see text messages between Isabella and Robinson when he briefly left the apartment.
And then I asked him, will you marry me? He said, I don't know why I asked this question, because I was sure he was coming back to kill me, so that's the only question. Will you marry me? He said, yes, when all this is going to end up.
All right. Did you guys discuss like what you know, like the long-term plan was, or like, you know, what you guys were gonna say, or what he was gonna say to people, or?
No, he just told me that I had to say only this. If when they call you, will have to say that Nick, you woke up and Nick was gone, and all his stuff was gone.
Did you
That's
guys?
all he told me all day long, but that I had to say that.
Did you guys pack up Nick's clothing and stuff like that?
Yes. So after all this is happening, he said I have to get rid of the body. And I said, but he might be alive. He said, what do you think, that I would leave him alive? He's dead. He's dead. Put that in your mind.
So but you still knew it was wrong to do these things and to cover up the crime and stuff.
I knew, but I was just trying to survive until I could open. I was not covering the body in my mind. That's the point that make me feel guilty, because I was not doing that because it was my option. That was the last option that I had. The only one, to be with him until he left me alone, for sure.
Okay.
But when the surveillance videos from that day came in, Isabella and Robinson could be seen kissing and hugging just a few hours after the murder, and the doubts about Isabella's story only grew.
Everything she says is a lie.
So you just willingly just helped him?
Because he or I did that, or I would die, and I know he was not going to kill me nicely.
Well, if you, at the point, and this is what kind of bothers me a little bit, if you knew at that point that you were going to die, why didn't you just go? Why didn't you just ask for help, use the phone, run out of the house?
And when the surveillance videos from that day came in, the detectives' doubts about Isabella only grew.
He certainly had every reason to believe she was just as complicit as Mr. Robinson.
Hours after the murder, she accompanies Robinson to a Publix grocery store near the Broward County Courthouse.
You do see the two of them drive up in a vehicle, and you see them just very much being regular people inside of a grocery store, milling around, looking down various aisles, putting items into the cart. And then at one point, Mr. Robinson leaves Miss Tagliarini to go over to the courthouse for a hearing that he had. Miss Tagliarini is alone in the Publix for quite some time.
Well, I have a video. I'll show you the video in a minute if you want.
Sir. Okay.
And then another thing that bothers me when you go in, you had your purse with you, and you had your phone in your hand, and you were shopping by yourself.
Earlier, Isabella had told police she did not have her phone with her at the Publix.
So this is you, right?
That's me.
So which bag do you have?
That's my purse.
Okay, so once again, let's cover this. A few minutes ago and the other day, you said you didn't have no purse, no phone, no nothing.
That's my purse.
Okay, so all right, listen. This is going to be a continual pattern, and I just want you to stop.
Okay, sir. I'm.
And there was some, court bailiffs and some security guards with guns that walk by you. Eric comes in. He goes to the bathroom. He comes back out. You guys hug. You give him a kiss. You hold hands. And that just kind of confuses me.
If that's somebody holding you against your will, why? She's at Publix. There's people all over the place. Why would you be acting like that if you were a victim? This guy just killed your soon-to-be husband and raped you. I was mad. I was very mad.
I was not hugging Eric. I was hugging my life. I was protecting my life at that moment. I was going to do whatever it takes to survive.
Okay, I understand. But all these other opportunities, you have to do anything. You could leave, you could call the police, you can call 911, you could tell the security guard there, you can tell anybody there. You could have said, he's not here, please help me. Hop behind the counter, lock the door, call the police.
I was afraid.
But you had your phone.
I was afraid. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of him.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you leaving things out with us because you're not telling us certain things because you're afraid we're going to blame you? Or you're going to be afraid that we think that you killed Nick?
No, that you killed me, that I killed him? No, because I know I didn't.
And then other surveillance videos show Isabella and Robinson driving to the town dump with Nick's body wrapped in a tarp in the back of the truck.
What do you got in the bags? Just plastic, tarps and stuff like that, and some sheetrock.
The videos were truly invaluable. They really paint an extremely disturbing picture. Crystal clear video, full color, full audio.
You pay by the pound. Do I pay when I come out? Or? Is this your first time? Yeah, I've never been here before. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. I need your driver's license. Just your driver's license.
And you see Mr. Robinson in what I would really describe as a very jovial manner. He hands over his Florida driver's license with making jokes with the person that's taking down his information.
Okay, Eric, this is your tipping ticket. See if you can reach. Can you get it? All right.
What you'll ultimately see on the video is that he has Mr. Wilcox's deceased body in the back of the pickup truck. It's horrifying.
Please be careful. Come down here. We'll tell you how much, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Be careful.
Miss Tagliarini, she was in the vehicle with Mr. Robinson.
He got out, but he said, there's no way, there's a lot of people here. And then he asked for directions to go to Everglades.
Turns into Alligator Alley West. Okay.
And they ultimately drive out, and you can still see the body wrapped up in the tarp in the back in the pickup truck. If I can't do it at the dump, I'm going to leave his body in the Everglades, and hopefully the alligators will take care of it for me. It was probably close to 1 o'clock by the time they got over there, and probably arguably one of the most popular tourist spots. I think there were just too many people and not enough secrecy and not enough isolation to where he felt comfortable leaving Mr. Wilcox.
During all this time that we were together, he was always saying, I really don't know what I'm gonna do to you yet. I don't know. Until he decided to drive back to the city towards Plantation. And he said, there's a Publix. Right now, here there's a dumpster there, and that's where I'm gonna throw the body. I stayed in the car, could not even look because it was too painful for me. I saw him, and he threw the body there and the other things. We went back to the house.
Ultimately, Isabella led police to the dumpster, where they found Nick's body.
Sometimes comes a point where you have to make a decision. Are you going to charge somebody with this crime, or are you going to utilize them as a witness? And when it comes down to a situation like this, where quite literally there are 3 people in a room and one of them gets killed, Miss Tagliarini's, insight and description and the details of what happened inside is invaluable when it comes to putting a case together against, Mr. Robinson. And so that decision had to have been made, and then that's what we decided to do.
We decided to charge her and then use her as a witness. We charged her with, accessory after the fact, disposing of the body and so forth.
We're going to head now down to Florida in Broward County for opening statements in the trial of Eric Robinson.
He was wearing a suit and tie, a nice haircut. He was quiet, he was stoic, he was paying attention.
It was the second trial for Robinson after an earlier mistrial, when the judge said testimony about his domestic abuse was too prejudicial.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear that victim in this case, Mr. Nicholas Wilcox, was bludgeoned to death with a hard object. His skull was crushed, and he had puncture wounds around his neck and his chest.
About as bad as it gets when you're talking about somebody beating somebody to death.
And you're also going to hear that there's essentially three main players in this particular trial. That being the victim, Nicholas Wilcox, the second one being the defendant, Eric Robinson, and the third one being Isabella Tagliarini. You're also going to hear that Isabella Tagliarini was arrested for her involvement in this particular crime. Not the homicide, but the fact that she helped Eric Robinson paint inside the apartment. And you're going to hear that she, in fact, became a state witness to describe what happened in that very apartment. You might not like Isabella Tagliarini, but I profit you, she's not the one that killed the victim. And after hearing the testimony of all the witnesses, I profit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you will find no trouble finding the defendant guilty of second-degree homicide. Thank you.
The decision to charge Robinson with second-degree murder instead of first-degree was an acknowledgement of the love triangle nature of the crime.
Second-degree murder seemed to fit a little bit better due to the nature of the relationship between the parties. A murder that was based on ill will, hatred, spite, evil intent.
At this time, would the defense like to give an opening statement?
What happened in this case is that Isabella Tagliarini killed her boyfriend, Nicholas Wilcox, and blamed it on her ex-boyfriend, Eric Robinson.
I was accused. And he was sitting there like nothing, accusing me of all his choices, all his decisions. Was very devastating. It was terrible, terrible.
The police rushed to judgment. They thought what they had at first was someone being honest and straightforward. Turns out Ms. Tagliarini's stories and statements and details kept changing. I submit to you that innocent bystanders do not act this way, that things would not have unfolded the way they did if she was not guilty of killing her boyfriend herself. So, does Eric Robinson have clean hands in the acts that transpired on October 5th, 2017? No, he does not. Because he helped Isabella dispose of the body. At the end of this trial, after you've viewed all of the evidence, I am sure that you will find Mr. Robinson not guilty of murder in the second degree. And I know that because the evidence does not support it. Thank you.
The first key piece of evidence prosecutors introduced was the surveillance video from the town dump, with the body of Nick Wilcox in the back of the pickup truck, wrapped in a tarp. Michael Franquiz was on duty that day at the entrance gate.
What do you got in the bag?
Just plastic, tarps and stuff like that, and some G-Rock.
It almost transports the jury to the scene of the crime through the witness's testimony. Who was driving them? The defendant?
Yes.
Was there anybody else inside the vehicle?
There was a girl.
That's something that the jury definitely paid attention to, and you could see them taking notes and paying careful attention to the video.
And it set the stage for the testimony of Isabella.
The biggest weakness was going to be putting her on the stand and having her be faced with an aggressive cross-examination and have every word that she'd ever said challenged by a defense attorney who's, certainly wasn't her first rodeo.
She was definitely the key witness, and whether the jury was going to believe her, that's where the verdict was going to hinge.
Welcome back to the Law and Crime Network. My name is Bob Bianchi. We head to Broward County, Florida. It's a he said, she said case.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tagliarini.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
A little tense, but okay. I'm the only one that could say what happened that night. I'm the only witness.
Can you tell the jury what you saw?
He had a big piece of metal, dark metal. He was doing, like, hitting him several times and saying, "Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker." And that's what he was doing until the noise disappeared.
How did you react?
I couldn't look. I was so afraid, so scared, because I knew I was going to be the next.
One of the things I do is, ask her some of the questions that I believe the defense is going to ask to kind of deflate that surprise when the jury hears it.
Did you call the police?
No, I didn't call the police.
Why?
I was so scared, so afraid, and I didn't trust the police at that time at all. They told me Eric deserved a fair trial, so I was not supposed to mention anything that happened prior the murder. Why I was afraid, I couldn't say. Oh, I was his victim for more than 10 times. I couldn't say anything that happened before to the jury. The only thing I could say was that I was afraid.
You had a chance to view some surveillance CDs, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you got to Publix, he left you alone at Publix, correct?
Yes, he did.
You had an opportunity to grab a stranger, grab a security guard, maybe even use the courtesy phone to call the police, correct?
But I didn't, because I was so scared.
Now, Ms. Tagarini, it appears, correct me if I'm wrong, you appear to be hugging him, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain that?
I was afraid, and I had to make him very sure that I was going to be on his side and do whatever he told me, that I was not going to run away.
You were texting with Eric Robinson using Messenger, correct?
Correct.
When he was gone?
When he was gone, I was texting him about my feelings. I was asking him if he was still in love with me, if he was going to marry me.
You see him?
Yes. It's him there. It's horrible. Seeing him after 6 years was like facing a psychopath.
But the incarnation of defendant Eric Robinson. Thank you. I have no questions.
We're ready to continue cross-examination.
Thank you. You could be facing prison, right?
Right.
But realistically, you don't expect to do any jail time, correct?
I don't know. I don't want.
Not that you don't want to. Do you expect to?
Nothing was promised to me, so I don't have that answer correctly for you.
And then the defense sought to give Isabella a motive to want to kill Nick.
You and Nick Wilcox were having issues on October 3rd, were you not?
Issues?
Were you having issues in your relationship? Was there a point where you felt you didn't know who he was anymore and that he was lying to you?
I think that was for a normal couple insecurity or fight, something or discussion that happened.
We just saw the Publix video, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you stated on direct that I could never leave his side. That was his mandatory order, right?
Yes, I should always be next to him, on his side, where he could see me.
Okay, but we just saw the Publix video. You're alone in that video, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you had your phone, and we know that now,
Yeah.
right? You did not tell the police about Eric leaving the house at any point that morning when you spoke to them later in the day. Isn't that true?
Well, I don't remember not telling them.
Okay. Well, Eric leaving the house around 5 a.m. and leaving you alone would be a pretty big detail that police would want to know. Would you agree?
I agree.
And at some point you told Eric not only of the marriage proposal, but you said, I'm your wife, right? You used that phrase, I'm your wife.
Yes.
Right?
I think she testified as somebody who came up and owned their mistakes and owned what she did wrong that day. And I think that really humanizes her, and I think that made her, ultimately very credible.
Mr. Robinson, I do want to make sure that you understand that you have an absolute right to be a witness in your case. You have also an absolute right to not be a witness and exercise your right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
It would quite literally be his word against hers. So I was expecting him to get up and to say something.
And is it your decision not to become a witness in your case?
Yes. And then the defense rested its case.
Right. Turning to the state, at this time, would you like to give a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I will proffer to you that the manner in which Nicholas Wilcox was murdered shows emotion, shows rage, and also shows a lot of strength.
And if you look at the size of Isabella Tagliarini, it's something which would be very difficult for somebody her size to accomplish.
She was holding hands with the defendant, Mr. Robinson, and in fact, at one point, you saw it, she hugged him in the aisles of the Publix. I want you to watch the body language of Isabella Tagliarini. Her hands are always like this. And when she says, I was scared of what he was going to do, view her body language and consider it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's talk about another person that's in this courtroom right here, right next to me, Mr. Robinson, and his actions. Because one of the things that we're not going to ask you to forget or not consider is your common sense. Motive, intent, opportunity, and the ability to do so was all present. It's the state's proffer that he did brutally murder and butcher Nicholas Wilcox on October 5th, 2 days after he got out of jail. Thank you.
At this time, would the defense like to give a closing argument?
Yeah.
All right, you may proceed.
So let's start with talking about Isabella Tagliarini's testimony and why it is not credible. Now, if Ms. Tagliarini was so frightened about what she had just seen, here's the time to use common sense again, ladies and gentlemen. How many opportunities do you hear about throughout this trial where Ms. Tagliarini could have gotten help, could have called for help, could have driven for help? She doesn't. Why? Because she knows she killed Nicholas Wilcox. And she's trying to hide it. Again, this is a woman who keeps men in her life so she can use them when she needs them, right? In her web. So if you have a reasonable doubt in this case, then you must find Mr. Robinson not guilty of murder in the second degree. Thank you.
The jury is quite literally a black box. It's always a feeling of, did we put on the right witnesses? Should we have put on somebody else? Should we have said something differently?
The jury was back in just over an hour.
I have been advised that a verdict has been reached. Are both sides ready to receive the verdict?
Yes.
Eric David Robinson, defendant, case number 17-11373, CF-10A, verdict. We, the jury, finds as follows to the defendant, Eric David Robinson, in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information.
You can tell when somebody hears that, guilty of second degree murder, the gravity that sort of hits them, you can see it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilcox. Can you tell us how you're related to the victim in this case?
It's my brother. I was nervous because at that point he hadn't given sentence. He could have got like 25 years, or he could have got 30 years, or 40 years, or whatever.
Is there something that you personally want to say?
You took my brother away from me. My only brother. You have your sister up there. How would you feel if someone took her away from you? My brother has 3 kids. He's got a little girl. All of them, he has 2 boys as well. None of them have a father now. Why? There is no reason why.
All right. I listened to the testimony, saw the pictures, and reviewed all the evidence in the case. The injury suffered by the victim in this case was dramatic. I do find that an appropriate sentence in this case is life in prison, and I am sentencing him to that.
There is no parole in Florida. You enter Florida State Prison if you're sentenced to life, and you leave in a casket.
First, I wanted the death penalty. It's better that he got life. I hope Robinson's absolutely miserable in prison. He deserves every second to be there.
But Wilcox was not happy when Isabella Tagliarini was put on probation. No prison time.
She participated in this. I don't think justice was served with her. I don't think so one single bit.
If I hadn't survived that night, maybe if he had killed me, maybe I would be the wonderful Brazilian beautiful girl that was killed in this terrible murder. What a price I've been paying just to survive. My desire all these years was just what I'm doing now, to be able to tell my truth. And I want people to know that I was the victim of all this too.